Okay, it's the bonus video from my series about how do we as educators help students take an anti-boring approach to their own learning. And you know what I think I want to do to start off this bonus video, because it's all about authenticity and behind the scenes. I don't know, wipe off this darn lipstick. I have reapplied this lipstick so many times today to try and keep it looking perfect from video to video, and I am over it. There we go. Maybe it's better without lipstick. Who knows? Tell me below if you think so. I want to do a couple things in this final wrap-up video. Since we've been looking at the 10 characteristics of what it means to be an anti-boring educator and student, I thought it would be great to run through all 10 and see them all together. And then I'm going to present you with some reflection questions. That all the other videos ended with questions for students. And now I want to offer you a reflection question to see what kind of learning and next steps you want to take from this video series. And then finally, I'm going to show you behind the scenes, because this place truly is a disaster. And I'm ready to clean up and also sit down. So let's look at the list. Anti-boring students and educators are obsessed with the brain science behind why we learn and how we learn. But not just that, we also equip ourselves with an ever-widening toolbox of ways to put that brain science into action. We also are obsessed with the least we need to know to get into effective action. We don't try to know everything, or at least not at first. We just want to hone our abilities, or we want to exercise, I should say, our abilities to hone the least we need to know. This goes for educators, the least we need to tell students, and it goes for students, the least we need to understand in order to get ourselves to start learning. And then here we focus on itty bitty and imperfect. These two are related, right? How can we just focus, what's the next smallest little action that I'll take, even if it's just opening the textbook to the next page, that again gets me into action? And how can I be willing to get started and let things be imperfect? And just trust that imperfect action is the way forward. Anti-boring students and educators also grow their ability to use a variety of senses when they're learning, and also to stay curious. I'm laughing at my lipstick on my hand here. And to stay curious about how many more senses can I learn? Are there other ways I haven't tried yet? By the way, side story, I grew up for 4 years in Egypt, and that's where I went to school for the very first time and learned to spell. And so I just always use a U. I can never not use a U in the word curiosity. I just can't. I tried and I can't. Anti-boring students and educators also are obsessed with experimentation and mistake making. The word playfulness was also here, and I didn't write it on the whiteboard, but I should have. And we embody experimentation and grow our comfort with making mistakes. Have you heard people say, like, what's the fastest path to the mistake? Like, that's where success comes from. We also learn how to take meta breaks so that we can assess what's happening in our learning, and we can learn from that and take that into the future so that we have even more effective learning habits or teaching habits for those of us who are educators out there. We also make sure that we center consent and collaboration with the students we work with, and we are committed to bringing more and more of our authenticity to the table so that we can feel like we are our full self, and we invite students to be their full selves at school. Do you think students feel comfortable being their full self in a school environment? Maybe when they're younger in elementary school, but I think it gets pushed out of them as we get older and older, and especially as we go into college and then even grad school. Like, is a grad student thesis your most authentic expression of who you are deep inside, or is it a piece of academia that you are just creating to try and be smart so you can get done with your damn degree and get into your work? It's probably both, right? Depending on who you are. But I've met more of the latter than the former, I will say. Anyway, there you go, y'all. These are all the characteristics of being an anti-boring student and educator. And I want you to take a look at this list while I'm holding it up here in this funny way. And I want you to assess for yourself, Which one of these characteristics are you best at? Does it bring you joy? Maybe you're just really seriously competent and you excel at it, or maybe you just love it. Maybe you're just a total geek about the brain science, or maybe you're so good at making mistakes and making them in public. What are you good at? I'd love you to reflect about that, and maybe even to write in the comments below what you notice about which one of these is your best anti-boring characteristic. And then you can imagine what I'm going to ask next. I'm curious which one is the hardest for you, or which one did you feel resistant to or triggered around when I shared about it? That's really important data to pay attention to. And I'm so curious what you noticed for yourself. And again, put it in the comments below. I would love to hear. Then finally, where would you like to grow as a learner, as an educator? Which one of these are you thinking, yeah, if I took this on this school year, I really would feel proud of myself as somebody who pushes themselves to learn and grow. And I am sincerely curious about how my relationships with my own learning and my students would be different if I took that on. What if you took on the meta breaks over here? What if you took on being sincerely curious about the questions that you ask students? What if you decided, here we go, to hone the least you need to share with students and just focus the entire semester or school year on that? Oh my goodness. I would be so curious to see which one of these you would be willing to take on. It might be the one that you feel most challenged by, or it might be one of those in the middle that you're like, oh yeah, I have some skills with that, and I would like to see what would happen if I pushed that all the way. Also, I just want to invite you to consider joining any of my training programs. We are in the process of creating something brand new that I'm so excited about to share the anti-boring toolbox with more and more educators and to help you grow your skills in these 10 characteristics together. We'll be announcing that at some point when I come back from my medical leave. But if you want to make sure that you're on the list and you hear about it first, I recommend, if you haven't already, go grab that free the free thing I've been talking about, gretchenwegner.com/secret, the secrets to unlocking student learning. And it's a video series and a report that talk about the least you need to know. It is truly what I believe the least you need to know is to be an effective educator of students. And then you'll be on my list to hear the announcements as we move forward, as we hone our toolbox and become better and better teachers of it. So I'm so grateful you stuck it out this long, and I'm just sending you all my love. Oh wait, we have a tour to do. So I'm just gonna pick up my laptop. First of all, I just want to point out, I have finally put my kitchen wall together. This is my dining room in my kitchen. Can I show you more of my face? And these are just things that bring me joy. And there's Grover. Grover, come on, Grover. Let's go talk to Grover for a second. Grover is a very important character in my life. Hi, sweetie. Because when I moved to Egypt from Australia when I was 4 years old, Grover was my favorite stuffed animal. And my parents told me that they had heard that at the airport in Egypt, they would rip apart stuffed animals to see if weapons were inside. And I was so scared by this, I did not want Grover to be hurt. So I left him behind in Australia. It wasn't this Grover, it was a different Grover. And so I always missed him. And so my mom gave me this Grover when I was 14, and we moved to Houston. I don't know if I was 14. She gave him to me at some point because she knew that, well, she had felt bad, I think, that she had told me this thing that turned out to not be true. Because they didn't rip up the stuffed animals that I had brought. Anyway, authenticity. There's a story from Gretchen's childhood. And because I am a recovering perfectionist, I just really appreciate this quote here. Life does not have to be perfect to be wonderful. It is a great reminder to me. This piece of art right here, I found for free on the streets of Oakland, California, and I just thought it was hilarious. I mean, look at the look on that. Is it a squirrel? On that squirrel's face. I just think it's so funny, and anytime I look at it, I smile. There's more I could introduce you to here, but really, I want to turn this way. There's all that light coming through. and show you my setup. There's my dining table that is, it can go from sit to stand, and my lights, and we'll get closer. There are just whiteboards everywhere. There's whiteboards on the chair. And then if I take you, I'm sorry, I'm so not a professional camera person. If I take you here, my couch is just got whiteboards on it, and and then over here, my office area has the baskets where I keep my whiteboards hanging out. I'm not going to bring you to the bathroom because that's even worse with makeup everywhere, and oh my goodness, probably the towel from my shower this morning on the floor. So it is time for me to clean up, get some order to this chaos, and then I'll be able to relax for the evening. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.